Good morning. My name is Mary Baker. It's Dr. Baker. I'm your professor for electrical engineering 5371 this summer, the online or distance section of 5371. I want to start by welcoming you all to the class, and then I want to make a couple of comments. I have your course homepage Blackboard open here in the background. I think that yours appears slightly differently from mine. We used to have the ability to see student version and see what the students saw, but for whatever reason, the university's disabled that feature on Blackboard, so I'm unable to see that at this point. Hopefully, the things that you need to be looking at are here is the folder for the location of the course information and syllabus. This should appear on the main course homepage. If it does not, if you could contact me and let me know, that would be good. Basically, the other thing that you need to know right now is that we'll be starting in Module 1. So I will click on Module 1, and as I'm doing this, I'll talk a little bit about the distance education aspects of the course. So when you open a module, you'll see that first of all, I will have listed with each module what the sections are in the textbook that we'll be reading. Now, if this is your first time to access any of the links associated with Wiley Plus, as soon as you push on one of these links, it's going to take you to a page where you either enter an access code or you purchase access. So the first thing that you need to know about the online course is that you must purchase access to Wiley Plus. I believe at the very minimum that includes an ebook as well as access to the homework, system. It's the only way I can teach the course online, and so it just goes with taking an online course. There's not a free option. There's not an option not to purchase. All of the materials are coordinated through Wiley Plus. Wiley Plus is going to keep its own gradebook. So your grades are kept in Wiley Plus, and it does sync with Blackboard. The homework's online. I believe I have it set up where each homework assignment you have three options or three opportunities to work each problem. The problems will be different for each student in the class, but I have changed one thing based on some requests from students last year. If you do need to repeat the problem, you will get the same numbers each time. So it's not like you're having to start completely over and try something new. You get three opportunities and only three opportunities. So once your third opportunity is gone, you'll have 0 credit for that particular problem. Some of the Wiley Plus problems have multiple parts, and so they will give partial credit. But as a general rule, once your 3 tries are expended, you will not get credit for that problem. So I really strongly recommend that if you miss the problem twice, you take some screenshots, you take some shots of your work, and you contact me or someone who can help you figure out why you're missing the problem if you want the full number of points. The Wiley Plus homework counts 40% of your grade, and there will be slightly more than 80 problems, but you'll get a maximum of 80 points. So, and each problem will be worth half of a point. So, in your final grade. So basically, you're going to have some extra problems. So if you miss a few, that's okay. It's still possible to get a perfect homework score because I'll be sure that I assign enough that, 4 or 5 problems can be dropped. And I'm not sure the exact number. We'll just base that on the material and how many problems I feel it's appropriate to assign. So basically, once you get your 80 problems correct, you have your 40 points, and so that just leaves you some leeway to miss a few problems. So that's that. There's no point reduction for multiple attempts, so you get, like I said, you get the 3 attempts, and that's it. And I will go and verify for absolute certain before anyone starts. That's the way I have the module set up, but that's the way I intended to set it up. Sometimes Wiley Plus is a little funny and has certain defaults that it's not super easy to get around. So when you open each module, and there will be 4 this summer, spaced at roughly 2 to 2.5 week intervals. The first exam will cover the first 2 modules. If there's difference in that, if I decide not to completely cover all of one module in an exam, then I'll let you know prior to exam time. And then the second exam will cover mostly the second 2 modules. We will finish, if you've looked at the syllabus and you've looked at when the second exam is scheduled, it's actually scheduled a few days prior to the final exam time. That way, if some of you are taking 2 courses, you're not having to juggle the exam in this course with your final exam. So we'll actually finish, I don't remember the exact date, but it's 3 or 4 days before the main semester ends. That gives me plenty of time to do grades. It gives the distance students time to have their proctors get their tests emailed, and me time to accumulate everything. So you'll see a reading assignment, and the reason I do this is so that you will know what sections of the textbook are covered. We don't cover all the sections. We cover a number of sections, but we do skip over some of the modeling part and some of the other things we skip over. You'll also see right below that your homework for this module. This does cover multiple chapters, and so you'll see a number of problems pop up. Don't start a problem if you haven't watched the lectures and read the textbook, unless you are really an expert, in this particular case, in ordinary differential equations. Each module will have a number of videos, and they're just numbered here in the order in which you should watch them. So, for example, and they're not super long. They tend to be between 10 and 20 minutes. So I'm not a big believer in making long videos because I think videos are hard to watch, especially in the YouTube format. If you are hearing impaired and you need closed captioning, you need to let me know as soon as possible. YouTube does a fair job of closed captioning. Watching the videos is not required. It is highly recommended because a lot of people can't learn from a textbook as easily as if they have something to watch. So it's here as a resource to you, but I'm not tracking whether or not you've watched the videos. In future classes, I may do that, but in this particular class, you can consider them an extra resource in addition to the readings in the textbook. Then, after the listing of videos, I'll have several other just random links, and I may add to this as the semester goes on. Some of them are from previous semesters and may or may not be relevant to you. Some of them are if you choose to use MATLAB to do some of the homework. So I will have some additional links. In this particular case, I link you to a section on integrating factors. So let's click the homework and see what it does. And like I said, I'm not entirely certain. Since I don't see exactly what you see, I'm not sure what this will do for you. I think it'll take you to give you the opportunity to do a Wiley Plus. Okay, so you can see, and it looks like I do need to reset this. Basically, I have up to 3 attempts per question. Here's the policy that after the second attempt, you'll only get 95% point potential, and I'll reset that here as soon as I finish this video, where you basically get 100% point potential. You have up to 3 attempts per question. The show work being enabled, you may ignore that. I would suggest, keeping a notebook of your written work before you enter your answers, so you have a way to document for yourself and help you study for the exam. The exam questions are not all similar to what you see on the homework. There are multiple objectives in a course like this. I can't give an exam over questions of the level of complication that you should be able to do on your own in independent, untimed work. So part of what the homework does is it is going to push you a bit more on what some of the problems are than perhaps what you might see on an exam. That would be kind of, your easier to do, shorter kinds of problems. So when you click on any of these it brings up the question. Now, in my case, I have the opportunity to show a solution. I don't think you have that opportunity, but you can show a hint or you can link to the text. So either one of these will take you, and we can just push and see. We'll push show hint. So here's a hint on how to work this problem. And the other thing I can do is I can link to the text. And what that will do is that will bring me up basically a listing of kind of what the section is in the textbook that covers this material. So that shows you kind of what you can see there. Then you can return to Blackboard from Wally Plus. So like I said, I believe when you click on this the first time, it's going to take you to a place that gives you the opportunity to purchase Wally Plus. So that's the first thing. The second thing, let me go back to, and let's pull up, we'll download and pull up the syllabus. So when you open this course information, here's a little Wally Plus training and how to. Some browsers do better than others. I have had people have problems with old versions of Google Chrome. I think the newer ones, I think it works quite well with. If you have issues with Wally Plus, I can't really help you. You will have to go to the textbook publisher. They have when you're on the Wally Plus site, they have a contact us or a students need help button, and you'll need to contact them directly. All I can do is insert the links and select the problems and do the settings on the problems. But if for whatever reason Wally Plus goes down or you can't access the right system for the course, then you need to contact them directly. So we'll go to the course syllabus and let's open it. It is not a highly detailed syllabus. I think students often don't read most of the syllabus. So I found a typo. Basically, the best way to contact me is through campus email. I do list my phone. I really do not answer phone calls. And if you have not attempted to contact me by email, then typically I may or may not text you back. I try to let students know if I'm going to be unavailable for email for a day or two for whatever reason, so that if you need to contact me, you can. In this class, I find it very doubtful that anyone would have an emergency that they would need to text or contact me. It's not considered an emergency if you're in the middle of working a homework problem and you think you need me right that minute to help you. Send me an email and we can either schedule a phone appointment or we can schedule an office appointment if you're in Lubbock, or we can correspond back and forth via email. And I found that's pretty effective. If people send me screenshots and specific questions, I can typically respond with what they need. So this is, as we said, it's an online course. It's set up strictly through Blackboard. The only submission that you'll do will be homework submission, and that's done through Wally Plus, and then Wally Plus talks to Blackboard, and I'm able to go in either through Blackboard or through Wally Plus or both. So the topics above are basically what will be covered. I may throw a little bit of probability in here. It kind of depends on, how long it's going to take for us to do the other materials, because I am adding some different things. I'm adding a section on complex analysis, which we haven't done in the past. So anyway, that is what we're going to have for major topics covered. The book is listed here, Advanced Engineering Mathematics by Krasig. It is used in our undergraduate higher math for engineers. I will supplement some, particularly in this section on transforms, because we will look at some additional transforms, and we'll also look a little more in depth into special functions like Bessel functions than what's done in a normal undergraduate class. So the grading is very simple. You have homework and 2 exams. The 2 exams are each worth 30%. Here is the time and date of the exams. They are all pre-scheduled. If you are in Lubbock, You may come to whatever room I locate, and we will accommodate you in that room to take your exam, and I will be there, or someone who I designate to proctor will be there. So we'll have those 2 exams scheduled at these specific times. If you are not in Lubbock, that does not excuse you from taking the exam on this date. I have had some people contact me who are working as interns this summer from 8 to 5. And if that's the case, just please send me the name of the company that you're working for and your location so that I know that that's going on. And then you can arrange to have that exam proctored where you are so that you don't have to come back to Lubbock to take the exams. You must arrange a proctor. Um, Typically, a local university or community college will have a testing center, and often for a nominal fee, you can pay to have them proctor your exam. The Kaplan Learning Centers used to do it, and almost every public library will do it. If they are not open in the evening, that could be a problem. So that is something that you need if you can't take off work during the day. So that's something that you need to find out now, so that if you know it's going to be a problem, you can perhaps drop the course and take it at another time. Unfortunately, I can't negotiate on having the exams proctored because in the past I have had issues with academic dishonesty and people working together on exams and people using um, numerous materials and Chegg and things like that to do exams. So I cannot approve to have an exam taken non-proctored. So contact me if you have a problem with that, and we'll see if you can't maybe take the course another semester. It might be better if you can't do that. The A to D scale is pretty much a standard 10 point per grade scale. The grade is percentage based. I don't curve. As I grade exams, I base the partial credit that I give on the exams so that a person who has a reasonable knowledge of the course and does well should score above 90%. But I don't curve on a bell curve. So if everybody in the class does a great job, I have zero problem giving 18 A's. If everyone on the class does a miserable job, I have zero problem giving 18 C's. So it really is, it is a content mastery based grading approach, not a how do you do with respect to how your neighbor does. I don't negotiate grades. I don't give extra credit because I make the decision on how much credit and partial credit to give as I begin grading. And so I don't negotiate grades. Let me repeat that. I do not ever negotiate grades. I know that many of you have been coached to beg for an A. That will not happen in my class. And I have in the past had to turn students over to the Dean of Students for harassment because they wouldn't stop sending me emails because they wanted an A. I know that you all want an A. An A is incredibly achievable in my classes. It is mostly dependent on you. And, if you have bad, stressful, troublesome circumstances for any reason, if work gets hard, if you get sick, if someone steals your car, kills your dog, all of those can be very upsetting life situations, and the kind of situation where really you need to step back and take a hard look. Can I complete this course um, successfully? And if you can't, then I think you need to drop it, because you just need to know that I just don't negotiate grades. I don't give A's away. All right. So having said that, a little bit of stuff about Wiley Plus, a religious holy day. In a live class, you're excused if you miss class or an assignment due to a religious holy day. In this class, as far as I know, I have not scheduled any exam or homework due dates on any such days. I think Ramadan is over pretty quick, if not already. I don't know of any Christian holidays that occur. If I have, and I don't know of any on the Jewish calendar either, if I have missed one and you find that a homework due date or an exam day is scheduled on a religious holiday, please let me know immediately. And I will either reschedule for the entire class or we will try to bump it up and let you do it a day early. if you have a disability. So most of these assignments are self-paced, but the exams are time limited, and there are 2 of them, and I believe they will be 2 hours. So if you need an accommodation made, specifically if you need more time or if you need to take the exam in a different environment, you're welcome to take it at the Texas Tech Testing Center, and those are easy accommodations for me to make. But I do need enough lead time, and you do have to go through the Office of Student Disability Services. So I can't, please do not send me diagnostic information or personal information about your disability. The Student Disability Services are the only ones who should see that, and then they will just send me an email telling me what I need to do, and we'll make arrangements for that. The earlier you can let me know about that, the better. Now, in this class, this is not so much of a thing because you don't have any projects or anything where you will write, and I don't even think you have to write any code because we're doing everything on Wiley Plus online. So, and your exams will be proctored, but I can tell you if you are caught copying or cheating on your exam during the exam time, that is a 0 on the assignment of the exam. And since the exams are 30% each, that means your maximum grade, if you got 100 on everything else but cheated on one exam, your maximum grade would be a C because it would be a 70 if everything else was perfect. So please do not copy or cheat during the exams. And we're a small class, so that's actually going to be pretty easy for me to monitor. All right, let's go back briefly to the course homepage on Blackboard, and let's open up, well, okay. So each week I'm going to try to post a video that reviews and goes over portions of what was in the previous module. The videos that are online now were made previously, and basically they just correspond to material in the textbook. What you will get each Monday from me, hopefully posted by late in the afternoon unless I'm out of town, is you'll get an overview of where you should be, as well as what I think are the important takeaways and what I think are things to try and keep in mind and start studying for the first exam. So I will try to do that every Monday. Some other things, I will send all course emails through the Blackboard system, and I would request that if you send me an email or a text, and please send me an email first, and please give me about 8 hours to respond. I can tell you, I check email usually first thing in the morning, usually around noon, and then sometimes late in the evening. If you start sending me text messages in the evenings because I haven't responded to your emails, then I will block you from sending text messages because you need to give me 24 hours to respond to your email unless it's an emergency. An emergency is, yeah, I cut my foot off and I can't make the exam tomorrow. And be aware that if for whatever reason you do miss one of those scheduled exams, it will require documentation, and a slip of paper from Student Health Services that says you were there and had a visit and you're allowed to come back to class the next day is not sufficient. Okay, this needs to be a debilitating illness or injury that completely precludes your ability to come up to campus and sit for 2 hours and take an exam. Otherwise, I'm administering makeup exams all summer long, and I don't have the bandwidth for that. So anyway, that's that on if you have to miss an exam for whatever reason. Going on vacation is not an excuse. Going on a business trip is not an excuse. Having a job interview is not an excuse. You have seen if you cannot make the session on campus that you will need to find a proctor and schedule that. If you absolutely cannot find a proctor, then you obviously always have the option of coming to Lubbock and taking the exam in Lubbock. And I'm more than but it will have to be at the time that the rest of the class takes the exam. So I'm sorry to be so seemingly inflexible, but I've had so many issues in this online course with academic dishonesty that unfortunately this is the policy that I've had to institute. kind of discussed this with the department. We've come to the conclusion that we need to do it this way because we want to just maintain academic integrity. All right, so that's pretty much Guide to Blackboard. There's a lot of stuff on here from previous semesters that I can see that you cannot see. There are some links down here to Wiley Plus. Here's the grade book where you can view your grades in Wiley Plus. That will be more current than what you can see in Blackboard. It does sometimes take 24 or 48 hours. Sometimes you have to log out of both systems and give the system overnight to update itself for your grades to show up in Blackboard. Don't freak out if you don't see your grades in Blackboard. I am able to see in real time who is accessing Wiley Plus, so I will know when you signed on, I'll know when you did the problems. There's a record of that kept for everything by Wiley Plus, and I'm able to see that, which is one of the reasons I like it better than some of the other systems, is it provides a lot of protection for both you and me as far as keeping a record of everything you see. All right, I think for today, that's really all I want to talk about. Module 2 should show up sometime in the next 2 to 3 days, and then you'll have everything that you need other than some commentary from me that I'll try to upload once a week. Oh, the other comment that I had, a lot of times I will have multiple students send me questions. If there is a legitimate grading issue with the Wiley Plus system, then it's very easy for me to go in after the fact and reset a question and just give everyone credit if there was a legitimate grading issue. There is almost never a legitimate grading issue. Wiley is much better than other systems I've used, so I don't anticipate any problems there. But what I do a lot of times if I'm getting multiple questions from multiple people is rather than respond to you personally over email about a technical question, like about a question on the subject matter, I will send a general email the next morning to the entire class discussing a question that was raised and answering it so that everybody has the benefit of any clarification. And sometimes the questions do need to be clarified. Outside of that, I wish you a good summer, and I will be most afternoons from like 2 to 4 Monday through Thursday. I will be, or Monday through Wednesday for sure, I will be either in my office or in my lab on the tech campus. And so if you want to come up, I would request that you please make an appointment so that I'm sure I'm there and I'm not in the middle of a research meeting or something else. I do have several other projects I'm working on this summer. I do work a lot from home. That allows me to be able to check email a lot more frequently and to focus a little better when I want to just focus in on your class or just focus in on a class I'm developing or whatever it is I need to do. So anyway, thank you for your attention, and this video should be available today, Monday, June 3rd, and hopefully it's not too long, too boring, and it gives you all the information you need. So I would ask you, I will send out an email today asking you to please watch the video. It should have all the information in it, and then if you still have questions after watching the video, please feel free to contact me with your questions. Thank you.